We are live! Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Show Must Go On. Line. Today's guest is Hayley St. James. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you, Shoshana.
Thank you for coming. It's really funny when you see someone in person a few times, but then you're like on social media, just like, oh yeah, I like that. I like that. And you realize we should talk more. I want to get to know you a little bit better. So this is a really cool opportunity for me.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And it was really fun seeing you commenting away on Abe Goldfarb's conversation that we had last.
Yes. I love Abe, my first professional fan. Was
Yeah,
not
I love
expecting
that.
that last week, like at all.
What did he say? Like, I am legit fan of
I am
Haley
a
St.
straight up fan of Hayley St. James at Abe Goldfarb.
That is fabulous. Cosign, retweet, big fan.
Put
Big
it on
fan.
my tombstone. It's fine.
Yes. Perfect. So, on that note, let's just start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. And how did you get into theater and writing and just kind of this whole theater world?
Okay. So the first show I ever saw was Peter Pan with Kathy Rigby at the Wang Theater in Boston. I was 4. And I loved it, and I wanted to be Peter Pan, and I wanted to do theater because I was like, wow, I want to do that. I guess I don't know. I have vague memories of my childhood. It was so long ago. But I don't know. I just did theater whenever I could. Not really community theater. Mostly did school shows for most of my life. I did some summer theater, like youth summer theater, when I was in high school. And then once I got to college, about the first year or so, I was like, no, I'm just gonna do theater. I'll act, whatever. And then I was really, really, really depressed. I was not doing well mental health wise. In the spring of 2015. And I mean, I was seeing theater as much as I could, like keep myself going, because I've been going to theater pretty much as long as I can remember. I saw mostly lots of touring stuff. And then, once I was old enough to go to New York, we would go as a family at least once a year. But once I started going to school in New Jersey, where my first college was, I, on a whim, bought a ticket to the first preview for Something Rotten at the St. James. I had no idea really anything about the show other than, oh, hey, Christian Borle and Brian Darcy James are in this. I like them. I saw Shrek was the second Broadway musical I ever saw, and I enjoyed Christian and Peter and the Starcatcher. And I was like, oh, this seems like fun. I don't know. I was not doing super well a few nights before, even though I did see Hunchback at Paper Mill a few nights before, which is cool. I mean, it was great. Love Patrick Page, but I was still not doing super well. I walk into St. James. I have zero idea what to expect. And then the show started, and I just felt whole. I felt alive. It was the funniest, most beautiful love letter to the theater I've ever seen. The first preview of Something Rotten, there was a 5-minute full house standing ovation after a musical, the song in Act 1. In the middle of Act 1, we get a full house 5-minute standing ovation.
Wow.
And that moment I knew that was going to be a home for me. That was going to be the show that I was going to just keep coming back to. And I did. I saw that show 37 times on Broadway and 4 times on tour. I saw pretty much every combo of the casts, pretty much. I miss it very, very much.
Wow.
And I mean, while watching that show, I realized, because it's a show about 2 playwrights who are rivals with William Shakespeare, and one of the brothers, it was played by John Cariani. And I love this character. I love Nigel Bottom. He is just so anxious and so passionate about being true to himself as a writer. And he's just so awkward and lovable. And I was like, okay, I love this character. I really relate to this character. Do I want to be a playwright? And so while I was still at my old college, I took a playwriting class. And every time I would go see Something Rotten, I would tell John Cariani at the stage door that I was taking playwriting. And he seemed really proud of me. I don't know, we just kept talking, whatever. I kept taking the class. And then by the end of that semester, I wrote my first 1-act play. I sent it to John, or gave it to him at the stage door, like after a show. And he said, I'll get back to you, don't worry. And then over that summer, after I had left that college and was ready to take a second gap year, he emailed me and says, I think you have a future in this. Like, this was really good. And I was very overwhelmed. And I was like, okay, wherever I go to school next, I need to focus on playwriting. I think that's what I need to do with my life. Though I think the first seeds for me wanting to be a playwright were also kind of sprinkled when I was still in high school. Apparently today they just I think it was Broadway record. No, it was Ghostlight Records posted that 10 years ago today they released the cast album for Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson.
Hey.
That show was everything to me in middle school and high school. I'm always really sad because I love Alex Timbers. He is a genius. I adore his work. I loved that show so much. I saw it at the Public. That was the first show I ever saw at the Public. Oh yes, I love Beetlejuice. He did a great job on Beetlejuice. We love that. But I never got to meet Michael Friedman. And Michael Friedman passed like my second week of going to school in New York City. Wow. When I was officially a playwriting major. And I was so shattered. They did a bunch of different memorial events at the Public, and I went to all of them. The first one was like the day after he passed, and I went, and it was in the library room. And they had some food set up, lots of tables, lots of chairs. We could just sit around and talk to people. And it was just so many people from the industry, and just me, who was just someone who was just deeply, deeply touched by his work and wanted to, follow in his footsteps. So I ended up talking to like Janine Tesori and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Timbers and like Andre DeShields and just so many people. And they were all so lovely and kind. We were all bonding over this man who I had never met, but who had greatly impacted my sense of humor as a writer. And just everything I've ever heard about Michael Friedman makes me so angry that I never got to meet him and that we lost him, because he never got Tony, which is absolute bullshit.
Slim agrees.
Oh, good.
Slim is all on that train right now.
Yeah, no, but Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson and Something Rotten were like the big two for me in terms of like making me realize I wanted to be a writer. And so I moved to New York and I became a playwright, and I've been seeing a lot of theater in between writing. That's really all I was doing for the 2.5 years I was in New York. And I graduated in February. I didn't get to walk. I was supposed to walk, so I still haven't gotten my diploma yet, which is annoying. But yeah, so mostly quarantine's been just writing. Yeah. I did have my first, I was part of Pride Plays through Playbill in June, which was kind of unreal. I submitted that on a whim. I mean, Michael Urie, who is the savior of quarantine theater, honestly. He's done so much brilliant stuff this year. Busiest man in the biz. But he was really, really such a great mentor on this project too. Like, I was not expecting to be picked at all. Like, I submitted on a whim in November. I forgot I even submitted. And in the beginning of quarantine, right when the shutdown happened, like, he just DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, Hayley, you want to Zoom?" I'm like, "Shit, okay, Michael, what's up?" And he was like, "So, well, we read your play." I'm like, "Oh, wait, yeah, I submitted." And he was like, "So we want to do it for Pride Plays." I'm like, "Okay." And it was just such a beautiful, crazy, chaotic, magical process.
That is so cool. And I love when you just kind of go for something and you don't know what's going to happen, and then it becomes this great launching point and so many great things. And I just want to comment, I apologize about the constant barking. If I close the door, Slim will just scratch at it until he's allowed in. And then if he just comes in, he will scratch at the door to go out. He needs this freedom in the 1 hour of an interview. So I thought I would just throw that.
That's fine. I used to have a dog. It's fine. It's fine. I know how you feel.
I love him so much. And also, just a quick note about the audio. I'm hearing a little scratching, and I wonder if it's the headphones. But I've learned. I'm not sure. Rachel, I see. Hello, Rachel. I see our friend is watching, and I wonder, maybe does your laptop or computer or phone, however you are streaming.
I'm on my laptop right now.
I wonder if you take out the earbuds, if it'll be a better audio thing. I've learned. I don't know. I'm just. It's like a little like shh.
Let me try something. Hold on.
Let's try it.
Can you hear me now?
That sounds pretty good for right now. Okay. I like some real time. This is quarantine. We figure it out on a whim.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Mhm.
I've learned it's better to just get ahead of it than 40 minutes in and be like, why didn't I say something?
Oh yeah, no, I know that feeling. I was on a stream a month and a half ago or so, and my headphones weren't working for about 3/4 of the stream.
No.
It's okay. We just put a thing like a please use your headphones at loudest possible volume on the
Yep.
video. So
Wow. Well, oh no, and now there's a bit of a feedback. This is just, let me try something on my side. Doo, 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 doo.
it's all right. Technology, eh?
Technology is a funny thing.
Truly.
All right. Let's try this. I think it'll be great. So what have you been up to during quarantine? Has it been a lot of writing and watching whatever theater is available?
For me, mostly quarantine has just been, I've been treating it as a bit of a writer's retreat, as it were. For most of quarantine, I was in New York. I just moved back to Boston about 3 weeks ago. But I mostly just have been writing. I have a writers group that meets every Sunday. Like we have a virtual writers group. But mostly I've just been writing. I haven't been watching as much of the live stream theater as I would like, just because I miss theater so much, and even like thinking about it makes me really sad. So like I watch stuff if like people I really do love are involved, but for the most part, like if it's things I've already seen, like I think most of the Andrew Lloyd Webber streams were things I had already seen, so I didn't really watch those. Though I did watch the Tim mentioned Jesus Christ Superstar because that's my favorite Jesus Christ Superstar.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I've been mostly just writing, pretty much.
Well, that's great that you've been able to find this time to be like a writer's retreat, because I know it's been kind of half and half with people, that some are feeling like inspired to just kind of use this time and write, and some people are kind of taking a step back. So I'm happy to hear that this has been a productive time, and what a cool opportunity to also have this group that meets over the weekend.
Yeah, it's great. And when Pride Plays was going on, I was pretty much revising like every week, every day, leading up to it. And that really gave me that kick in the pants to keep going. I was also like writing. I wrote a quarantine play, which I've since put on New Play Exchange. It's a weird one because the play I did for Pride Plays is about a young autistic queer woman and her imaginary friend, and it's a lot about like growing up and figuring out your place in the world. And my quarantine play is just this weird, sad, horny play about we have two lesbians who are quarantined together, and right next door is a non-binary stoner who is in a long distance relationship, who is very touch starved and is being visited by the ghost of David Bowie. And then there's just sort of like what if these characters end up meeting, and it's just a lot about touch and longing and how weirdly time has been passing because of the quarantine. And I'm really, really proud of it. It's just a total different direction from my other plays. I'm hoping to have a reading of that at some point before the year is over. I want to very badly. I'm very proud of it.
As you should be. That sounds like such a great plot story and so appropriate with David Bowie as one of
yes. I have a thing where whenever I like decide to like give a character in one of my plays like a hyperfixation or a special interest, because I'd say a solid 90% of my characters are on the autism spectrum or neurodivergent in some way.
Yeah.
So this one character, the non-binary character, who is not me but has elements of me, they love David Bowie and more than I do, which is, I mean, crazy, but
is that possible?
I realized apparently 10 years ago today I was listening to David Bowie, but I didn't think I was even aware of him until, I thought it was 7 years ago at least. But no, I've apparently listened to him longer. But like this year at the beginning of quarantine, I was like, I think I want to like make this character interested in the musical artist that I've been wanting to listen to. So I just deep dived in, and the rest is history, really. David Bowie just makes me so happy. I mean, I've never really been super into like specific like classic rock stars. Like I love Queen. Queen was one of my like gateway bands. But David Bowie just gives me so much joy because he just didn't really give a fuck about gender. He didn't really give a fuck about like sexuality. I mean, he was openly bi and he just wore whatever the hell he wanted. He looked fucking amazing every time. And just everything he did kind of transcended just really labels. And I just think that's so cool. And his music kind of every album sounds so different from the last one. And I just really love that about him. He was just so cool. And I'm so like a big thing in my play is like the non-binary character is convinced that like the reason Bowie keeps visiting him is because Bowie isn't actually dead. He's just an alien from another planet who has decided to come back to Earth because we need him. So me, that's how I feel, at least. I don't really, I mean, yes, I know he's dead, which is really, really sad, but I have hope that he's actually out there. Or, he's just, Lucas Steele is the reincarnation.
That brings me joy and hope that I love that you're marrying these two concepts and like the alien and the outer space idea, and then also the David Bowie of it all. So that's a great combination. All right, Slim, we're gonna close the door. Oh no, he's coming. Hi, Slimbo.
Hello, doggo.
Hi, bud. Oh, Slimbo. Cool. Are you gonna join us now? Would you like to get out on this couch?
Oh my goodness, hello.
Isn't he just the cutest?
I love a doggo. We love a doggo.
I love him so much. All right, he knows he's my co-host, and so he like
to have a co-host like that. My goodness.
Yes, I'm so glad. This is why I keep the door open, just so.
You're valid. That's a valid life decision.
It also feels like this is the door to the netherworld because it just.
Oh, we love that though.
Just shining through. All right, Slim. Well, keep drinking water, have some food, feel at home, bud. This is his home. And I just, normally I don't wear my glasses because of this ring light. And I'm just saying, like, fuck it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like last week, I can't see without my glasses either. Me and Eve, are we the same person? Not quite. I actually went to Marymount Manhattan. He didn't. Oh, we were this close.
So close. So close. Oh, all right, bud. We get it. So, yes, I love that you are... Valid point you bring up, Slim. Thank you for saying that. So, I love that you are so passionate about the things you're into and you share that with the world, because I feel like I think we spoke, or I saw you tweet about this, or you commented on Abe's live stream here, that sometimes when you're in the industry as a writer, or for me, a reporter, that you don't necessarily want to let that fandom show, but I'm also realizing that that's my superpower, right? Like I am a super fan, and you are also a super fan, and it's fun. I think there's like this new era of kind of the theater industry that it's okay, and that's a good thing to let your fandom out.
Yeah, we're going to Broadway Con every year, and every year, for the most part, it seems like every year they're trying to tailoring it more to the fans and to the really passionate people, as opposed to like the people who actually like want to go and learn about industry stuff, which is like a little sad because as someone who would love to go to the industry day portions of con but can't afford to, like I wish that if they take a year off and come back in 2022, which I think seems likely, they should probably mix the stuff together a little more, make it a little more industry focused. Just because, I mean, for me, maybe like a month or two ago, I decided I'm like quitting Broadway Stan Twitter because the environment just was becoming so much about like who likes a thing most, or I don't know, just all these weird hot takes that I was just like, don't like that. And also someone who's had an industry reading and who really cares about like making connections in the industry and is friends with a lot of people who are in shows or have, made connections and, good networking things with people in the industry. I always feel a little like, feels a little uncomfy being so like labeled as a Stan Twitter person. I still have a lot of friends who are on Stan Twitter and I love them and I support them and I care about them and I talk to them all the time. I just don't really see that as a label for myself anymore. Because I want to break into the industry. That's really all I've been trying to use quarantine for.
Yeah. That's great way of saying it. And there's also, I think, maybe like different levels and appreciating people's work versus being Stan Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's there are so many different parts of this industry and trying to break in, and what does that even mean, and having the representation and having the pride was great, but also there's so much more to it. Do you want to talk about representation in theater and why you're so passionate about it and how you're trying to change the game?
Oh, yes. Well, if people aren't aware, I am a non-binary lesbian on the autism spectrum. And I am very passionate about seeing people from my communities represented in all types of media, whether, in front of the camera or behind the camera, or, on stage or behind the scenes, actually working on the productions as creatives. The industry is so cis-het, normative, neurotypical. It's really kind of sad. And I just really, really want to see a industry, in entertainment industry in general, that's more open and more welcoming, and I don't know, that really embraces these people who are a little different and are proud of it and want their stories to be told in ways that don't make them always like the sob story, the tragic lesbians, or the trans characters who have really tragic fates, or the autistic characters who are just man children. I really hate that most autistic rep in every media thing is pretty much just cis-het white men. I don't love The Big Bang Theory. I did watch it when it was on because I loved Sheldon and Amy, because I love Jim Parsons, I love Mayim Bialik. I think they were great as these characters. And these characters I could relate to, even though they're not perfect representations of myself. They were the first time I at least vaguely saw myself as these characters, I guess. I don't know. And I love Curious Incident, but at the same time, yet again, cis-het white male story. I love that play. It's very important to me. But my pride play, For Leonora or Companions, is pretty much a direct response to Curious Incident, being the same sort of, this is my white cis-het male perspective as an autistic person. Also, as far as I know, only one autistic actor has even played the role of Christopher. Wow. Who's Mickey Rowe, which wasn't even on Broadway. I would have loved to have seen Mickey in the role. I'm sure he was fantastic, but I mean, I love that show, but it's just not perfect rep. And I've yet to find truly perfect rep. Except for, I think the closest would be Everything's Gonna Be Okay on Freeform. I love that show very much. We actually had one of the autistic actresses from the show in my reading, which was very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Very adamant on having actually autistic actors playing actually autistic characters. Because I feel like if we can't tell our own stories and we can't even be in our own stories, and people keep winning awards for playing these characters and they're not actually who, it just doesn't feel right.
Yep. I feel like that is in a nutshell what we're also trying to take this, if Broadway is going to be closed right now because of the pandemic, there are so many things that we need to kind of sift through and figure out.
I wish Joe and Jagged Little Pill was still non-binary. I love Ezra Menace so much. They are the best Joe. They are the only Joe as far as I can say. I mean, I saw Lauren in Boston. She was good in Boston, but as on Broadway, just the Joe.
I love Lauren and Ezra very much, so I'm going to leave it at that, but I understand.
That's okay. I'm not going to judge you.
Well, that's actually, let's talk about that for a minute, because I didn't see it in Boston. I've seen it on Broadway and I loved it on Broadway, but I did see in the press, these different stories about changing the character of Joe, and also then reading Lauren's, I guess, maybe response to those articles. And I'm trying to be as kosher as possible, but without like saying anything that would make you uncomfortable or make the situation uncomfortable, why was it so important to maybe let those stories be out there and at least let people make their own decisions about it? And why, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making the question as direct as I'm maybe meaning to.
For me, when it was in Boston, the character was very specifically written as struggling with their gender identity and like fighting with their parents about it. And like, You Ought to Know hit a lot harder when, the character is, still being called a girl when they are clearly not comfortable being called a girl. It just hit a lot harder. It just, you could tell Joe actually had more to do in Boston. I remember Joe showing up a lot more in the show. And then as soon as we moved to New York, they just cut so much of that out and changed it, and it just didn't hit at all until I saw Ez, because actually seeing a non-binary character, even if the character isn't technically non-binary anymore, seeing an actor who is non-binary immediately gives the character that inner life that is very present.
Yeah.
And just that was what was missing the first time I saw it on Broadway. So seeing it with Ez really made me at least, feel a little better watching the show. That's really all I gotta say. I'm happy people like Lauren. I just think Ez is the best Joe. But Lauren's fine. I loved her in Fun Home.
That's completely valid. And especially the part of seeing Ez playing the role of Joe, that hits differently. Like, almost I'd say regardless of your feelings on Lauren playing the role, having someone as talented as Ez, and then also how they identify and their performance and how they give everything. I unfortunately haven't seen Ez in the role yet, but I interviewed them on the series, and they sang in my pocket and was blown away.
There You Ought to Know got such a standing O. It was unreal. I think most of the crowd was like there specifically to see Ez that show. Like Rachel Zegler was there, which was crazy. She's so I love her. I love her so much. I can't wait for West Side Story. But the whole crowd was pretty much just there to see Ez as Joe. And stage store crowd after, we were all just cheering for Ez, and it was just so powerful. It was just so cool to see a non-binary actor like make their principal debut in a Broadway show. It was real cool. It was real cool.
What a special moment. It sounds like you've been at a lot of these special moments, whether it's Ez's debut or opening nights. Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I spent a quarter of this year at Emoji Land. I'm happy I did. But I think the first time we met was Emoji Land opening night, which was, that was not my first opening night, but that was my first opening night party.
Good time.
And I was not expecting to go, and I went, and I loved the show anyway. I miss that show very much. It's so damn relevant. Like, everybody, if you haven't listened to the cast album yet, please do. It's so relevant. That cast is perfect. Every person. I miss everyone in that cast. I miss everyone on the creative team. I just miss everybody. That show was very, very special. I'd say other than rock, like, it's my second most seen show, which is crazy for a little off-Broadway show. But that opening night party, like, it felt like it was just the cast, the creatives, the producers, the investors, and like, I guess other people who they invited who like either know people in the cast or just, were invited. And when they got the critics pick from the New York Times, the energy in the room shifted so much, and it just became a straight out celebration. It felt so good.
Yes. Yeah, I remember actually like dancing at that after party, which was so much fun. And you would think that for Broadway, there would be a lot of dancing at after parties, but sometimes, like you said, sometimes the critics pick or the review in general will affect the mood very, very much. And it's always really nice to be there when there's a positive review and people feel validated. There were so many great people involved. Actually, Laura's coming on the series next week.
Next week, oh my gosh. Oh, I miss her. I miss her so much.
What a great group. From like top to bottom, just like nice people, talented.
The whole cast. I went to the show specifically because I knew like 4 or 5 people in the cast beforehand. But by the time I had seen it for the 23rd time, I was like, oh, these people are my family now. These people are my family. It's crazy. The last person I saw, like the day of the shutdown, was Lucas Steele. Who is
how appropriate.
It's very on brand. That man, I remember the first time I saw a great comment. It was in the tent. I rushed it on a whim. It was my matinee. That evening I saw Fun Home at the Public. So talk about a very on brand day.
What a day.
Truly. Tiny me was oof, but that matinee, I went, it was still in the tent, so it's very immersive. I'm sitting down, I'm enjoying the show. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I've only seen one other Dave Malloy show before that point. It was Beowulf when it was at the ART, which is cool. I realized since that Dave was in Beowulf when I saw it, and I'm just like, why didn't I stay? I should have met him. I could have met Dave years in advance, but it's okay. But first time I saw Comet, going in, I have no idea like who. I just heard it was real good. So I'm watching the show, and Pippa Sue is Natasha, and she's great. And Shayna Tao was Princess Mary, which is cool. And so I'm watching the show, having a great time. And then we get to the opera, and then the lights, the Bradley King, those magic Bradley King lights, the lights change, the door opens, and in walks this beautiful androgynous blonde man. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? I will follow you to the ends of the earth. And he opens his mouth and starts to sing. I'm like, okay, that's it. Oh, I'm following you to the ends of the earth, mister. And it's kind of been since then, like, I'm in love with this man, even though, like, I'm lesbian. I'm just like, holy shit, you are a beautiful human being. You are just so objectively beautiful. And by the time like Comet came to Broadway, and I was still figuring out more things about myself, and I was like, wow, I just want to be you. Like, I would kill to look just like you. And I started really thinking. And then by the time I really came out as non-binary, it was really all thanks to Lucas Steele as Anatole in Great Comet. And so the first time there was the second time I saw Emoji Land. First time, Lucas was glad I was there. But like, I was just enjoying the show, having a good time. And so the second time I came, I bucked up the courage and I told him at the stage door, and he was just so, so kind. And it meant the universe to me. Wow. And because I love to cosplay, and I've cosplayed 2 of his characters, and honestly, those are the 2 outfits that like make me feel like the most, myself, which is pretty crazy. I don't know, just it's crazy. It's just I miss doing that. I miss doing I can't believe I put that skull cosplay together. Like, there is only one real promo photo of Lucas in the show, and he's wearing the big coat. And I have the entire rest of the costume. There are no photos of him in the costume, and there are so many photos of me. I can't tell if that's impressive or sad.
Impressive. Definitely. When I saw that photo.
Good. But I remember the day.
I was just blown away. Please continue.
Yeah, no, it's a really fun cosplay. I put that together. It's mostly just stuff on Amazon. I already had the pants, thank God. Those were a gift from a friend. Those are I think most of the stuff is, if not stage accurate, at least really, really close. The only thing I'm missing is the wig and the coat, but the wig is really what I want now. But I'm in no rush to finish it. I just love doing that outfit, and by the time I wore it to the show, his reaction was so priceless. I miss him a lot. I'm glad he was like the last Broadway person I saw before the shutdown. He was the last person I hugged for about 4 or 5 months. Wow. Which is, a lot to deal with when it's, oh, hey, this, very elusive Broadway person who doesn't really use social media much was the last person you hugged. Okay. That can do something to you. I started writing my quarantine play like not long after Lucas was the last person I hugged, and like I really want him to play David Bowie, so like I kind of wrote it with him in mind. I tend to do that. I like to write roles for people I want to work with.
Smart. That's a great if you write something and then you can kind of manifest it that way.
I try to manifest it in everything I do. I mean, every day or every couple of days, I go on a wormhole thing, and I look for photos of David Bowie, and then I'm like, wait a second. I pull up my camera roll old album that's just all these photos of Lucas. I'm like, are you kidding me? They are the same person. So I've tweeted a bunch of those, and they're very overwhelming every time. I just want to play David Bowie so bad. Because I remember one time he was being interviewed during Great Comet, and he said that like he kind of modeled Anatole after Ziggy Stardust. I'm like, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. No, please play David Bowie.
It's so on brand. All of this is just so on brand.
Yeah. Right now, my big thing is tweeting at Coldplay every day to let me write a jukebox musical.
If that happens, I will just say anything is possible, because you are just manifesting the heck out of your life, and I love that for you.
All I do is manifest a network. It's all I know how to do. All I know is to manifest, network, be gay, write play, love Coldplay. That's my life.
It always comes back to Coldplay.
It does, in the words of Abe Goldfarb from last week.
So how did you... We've spoken about the David Bowie and the Lucas
Coldplay is actually probably my oldest non-theater fandom that I'm still actively participating in. I got into them... it was 2008. I mean, I had vaguely heard of them before. Like, I think the first time I heard a Coldplay song was technically on a Weird Al Yankovic polka. Is, I mean, also pretty cool because I love Weird Al. But the first time I actively heard a Coldplay song, knowing it was Coldplay and realizing I think I need to listen to this band, was when it was during American Idol. It was a commercial break, and they had an ad for the iTunes release of the Viva La Vida single. And like that commercial, I was like, wait, what is this song? Oh my God, I need to listen to this song. And it came out that Friday, and it was all I listened to for that summer. And the album came out. And I remember, I think that might have been one of the first CDs I bought with my own money. And I was still in middle school. And I just, it changed me. It changed me a lot. I don't know. I was just like, I love this band. You can't really explain why you love the band. You just love this band. And I went back and listened to everything for the most part, though it took me until quarantine to actually finally listen to the B-sides. But Coldplay was my second ever concert. My first was Billy Joel, Elton John, which is still pretty cool. But like Coldplay was like a week later, and that was amazing. I think it was the 11th anniversary of my first Coldplay concert. So me and a friend from Coldplay Twitter, who turns out was at that same concert, it was also her first, we Zoomed and watched, someone filmed the whole thing and put it on YouTube. So we just watched the whole concert on Zoom and like cried because we had such a good set list. So that was magic. But since then I've been just like, for the most part, if Coldplay is doing something, I am very much, that's all I could think about. Though I'd say between 2015, so basically not this most recent era, but the Head Full of Dreams era, I basically almost entirely skipped, which is a shame because I would have loved to have seen that live show because it's beautiful. Everything they did was amazing, the live version. But I was seeing Something Rotten every weekend. I was seeing theater every weekend. I was spending all my money on Broadway. I couldn't just, afford to stop seeing theater, which was helping with my mental health, which was keeping me going. Yeah. I really wish I could have just stopped and gotten to see the Coldplay tour, but it's okay. I don't regret it. I just, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
But at least I did get to see one of their few gigs this past era. I waited 17 hours on the SNL standby line to see them on SNL with Kristen Stewart. It was pretty amazing.
We need to hear more about this. Please tell the story.
The SNL story. So I got there about 17 hours before when they were giving out the tickets, which is standby. There's never a guarantee. I was maybe like 30 something if in line. I don't know how long the line ended up being, but it was really cold. It was like the beginning of November, so it was starting to get cold.
It was a cold play.
It was. I mean, we were doing. Me and my friends who went were like hashtag cold play. I think that's what it was. But, one of them was my friend who. We ended up the one who I Zoomed with, and the other was another friend who I think has since moved back to India. But we were, having a good time in the waiting line, sleeping in the cold on our camping chairs under blankets, trying our best to, not leave the line, because you can't really do that, because if you do, you lose your place in the line. But we got our standby tickets, and I mean, you can pick between the live show or the dress rehearsal, and I wanted to do the live show. I mean, there's never a guarantee either way. You could literally be as close as getting into the room and then they could say, no, we're cutting it off. So like, there's never a guarantee with SNL standby. So yeah, it's crazy. So like, they give you your ticket once, like, it's like 7 a.m. when they give you your tickets, or they give you like the pass to get into the building, and then they line you up like at like 10 p.m. or so. And then, they start slowly letting people in, depending on how many like available seats they have. Because the standby is for any people who don't show up who are actually already properly ticketed, which is usually given to like people who either work on the show, guests of the guests. But yeah, me and my friends, we got in, and like everybody was like tweeting at me, like, we're not allowed to use your phones once you're in the building. So it was very much a waiting game, but it was so, so worth it. Even though they only played 2 songs, it was just, I got to see my favorite band, one of the few gigs they did that entire era. Oh, it was magic.
What a story and an experience, and I'm so glad it happened.
Only in New York. I think everybody should, if you don't at least do Shakespeare in the Park, try SNL. Like, I mean, Shakespeare in the Park you need to do. It's my favorite thing in the world. This year, the fact there was no Shakespeare in the Park broke my heart. I mean, at least the last Shakespeare in the Park I got to see was Hercules. My whole story of me trying to get into Hercules last year was also kind of iconic. I didn't get in until like a friend had an extra ticket, like very last minute. But the entire week, like I was just making these really, I don't know if you saw my tweet, that was, it was when Patrick Page went to see it, and there was a photo of him and Roger Bart, and
yes.
to Hades, and the public was like, okay, why didn't we come up with that caption? They still didn't count me in.
Wait, okay, say it one more time. What was the tweet?
It was to Hades, because... And then Patrick stole my caption, used it on Insta like a week after I did. I'm like, okay, Patrick, I love you, but that was mine.
Oh, and I do love that you're Hayley St. James.
Yeah. Yes, I miss Hades Town very much. I miss doing my my Hades cosplay, which I did right after doing Skull with the silver hair, so I didn't have to worry about changing my hair. So that was Broadway Con this year.
Nice.
I miss doing that. I still love the suit because I can just wear that suit anyway, and I still look good. So it's like, it's just nice because I love wearing suits.
Excellent. That's a win-win.
Big win-win. I miss Hades Town a lot. That opening night, I don't even know how that even happened. I just knew someone who had an extra ticket. I wasn't allowed to post about it for a few days. They were like, that's your one caveat. You can come, but like, don't post about it. I'm like, okay. And I ended up sitting behind Bonnie Milligan, across from Ingrid Michaelson, and like 3 rows from Heidi Blickenstaff. And I'm just like, all my girls are here. I am living. It was so fun.
That's a great group of people.
Yeah, and I think afterward I was talking to John Cameron Mitchell about my at that point I think I was starting on my my thesis. I wrote my thesis on Hedwig and the Angry Inches, queer performance art.
That's fabulous. There's so many shows I wish I could have seen. And
you didn't get to see Hedwig?
Hedwig? No.
Hedwig and the Angry Inches? No. Okay, well, if you haven't at least seen the movie, I mean, the movie's perfect in every way, so probably the best movie musical.
Oh, that is a lot. I will have to.
I mean, it has a Criterion DVD, so like, yeah, it's just great. I mean, I always keep saying like, I mean, it's been 5 years since it closed, which is like really sucks. I mean, then I'm not even like, the Broadway production is great, but I wrote my paper on the off-Broadway production at the Jane Street because I prefer that version of the show entirely. But every time I think about Hedwig, I'm just like, I want Lucas to play Hedwig. It's all I want.
Oh,
he's a damn good cover of Midnight Radio that's on YouTube that he did at a concert with a bunch of other great comic people. If you've never heard his Midnight Radio,
he does
his falsetto, and it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot. I just, every time that video, like there's like a solid 3 or 4 videos of Lucas singing that aren't comic related that I watch whenever I'm sad. They're just all so good.
You know, we all have to have those videos, right? Our go-tos that just make us happy.
Yep. I'd say it's those. I don't know if you've ever seen the Illegally Blondie or Woods. They're YouTube poops. So they're like bad audio, like the audio mix and like the words are shuffled around. It's really silly. They're audio edits basically of the pro shots of Legally Blonde and Into the Woods, and they're just nothing but meme material. It's so much fun. I'm still waiting on a Hamilton one because we have a Hamilton pro shot, we have a Shrek pro shot. Why is there no YouTube poops of those? But the Woods and Illegally Blondie, funniest videos on the internet. I quote them with my friends all the time.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Do they have a SpongeBob one?
There's kind of a SpongeBob one. It's mostly like this person reacting to the SpongeBob musical existing and like using some like trailer clips. Like I want a one with the pro shot. I would like that very much because I miss SpongeBob very much. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of closing, and that night was a religious experience. It was like going to temple, like on the high holy days. Literally every number at the end, we stand up and then we sit down, and everything. Literally, Dobson walks over to the Foley booth to start the show, and we're all on our feet. And oh my God, Ethan breaking right before best day ever. Oh, that's the saddest thing, but it was wonderful. The energy in that building that night. Oh, I miss the Palace. Oh, I miss the Palace.
Another one I really wish I could have seen live, but glad that I have the pro shot.
Mm-hmm. I miss that show very much. That show was such a happy place. I see a lot of theater because it becomes my happy place. I made a vow to myself when theater comes back, I'm not going to be repeat attending anymore. There are too many things I need to do and see. And yes, I love seeing the same show over and over, but I will really only do that if I like legitimately am friends with people involved. I just need to spread my love around a lot more, but not just to theater. I want to go to more concerts. I want to travel. Yeah. There's a lot of things I want to do, and just spending all my money on the same 2 shows. Just, I miss it, but at the same time, I need to do other things.
That's kind of the thing about quarantine, isn't it? Like reassessing what our daily journeys have been and what you spend money on, what you don't, what you spend your time with, because time and money, as much as the saying is time is money, also like what you spend your time on and what you spend your money on, they're both very valuable things that are not always mutually exclusive or together, because sometimes you'll wait outside for 17 hours to see something, and sometimes you'll go to the park and hope that you get to see Hercules.
Yeah. I moving back to Massachusetts was very stressful because I had to pack all my 2 years worth of playbills and theater memorabilia that were in New York with me and bring it back to Massachusetts. And it was just so many boxes. It's kind of embarrassing how many I have. I need to like figure out what to do with that because I don't want to throw them out. Obviously, you should never do that.
No.
Selling them is tricky because I have so many that are like personal and very important memories are attached to them. So
yeah,
I'll figure it out someday.
I really need to get those folders, or at least make it myself with all the playbills, because I've had
fun.
Yeah, that would be a great. Although all of them are in New York right now, and I am in Washington State for as long as the pandemic is, and it's also such an interesting thing you're making me think of. So thank you. But there are so many things like that where that would be such a great pandemic activity, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to. I want to try to like organize them as best as I can. Like I finally because like there's certain like I have some binders that are like for specific actors, like all of their shows, and like or specific. I think the specific ones I have every show Will Chase has ever been in, because I love Will Chase. He's a good bean.
I saw the photo of the two of you.
Yeah, it was his birthday a few days ago. I wish he still had social media. I miss him, and I miss Ingrid. I have that one photo with Ingrid, and it looks like we're literally sisters. It's kind of great. I'm Ingrid's non-binary sibling. It's fun. Oh, I miss her. She's a gem. But I also have one that's almost everything William Finn has ever written. My holy grail playbill right now is still an original in trousers. I don't know when I'll ever get that, but I love that. I love the Marvin trilogy. I'm a big Falsettos fan.
I'm so glad that there is falsettos on Broadway HD.
Yes, that was the main reason I got it. Between that and Indecent, I was like, great, 2 of my comfort shows. I can watch them whenever I want. But I love falsettos a lot. I miss it a lot. I miss Christian. I miss Christian a lot. He's a good person. I'm glad he's doing well in quarantine. He's done a couple like Zoom things that like with like other people that have been streamed that I've gotten to watch. He seems like he's doing real good, which makes me happy.
I love Christian. Legally Blonde the musical was one of my favorites growing up. My grandpa took me for my bat mitzvah, so
oh my gosh, amazing.
I love that so much. And like kind of similar to what you were saying before about having songs or shows that were your comfort ones, Chip on My Shoulder is just it's in my range. I'm not a great singer, but Chip on My Shoulder is just like one of those that I feel comfortable singing, and I love singing, and I sing it all the time. And it's one of those videos, like if I haven't seen it like once a week or maybe at most once a month, it's like, my YouTube pops up and it's like, have you been wanting to see this? I'm like, yes, thank you so much. And I got to tell him that, right? It's so great. And I saw him at Little Shop. And he was so lovely. And it's like, once again, whether you're right?
The best dentist. The best.
He's so talented.
He's a very talented man. I miss him very much. I think it was about 2 years ago. Yesterday I saw Popcorn Falls, which was his directorial debut that he did off Broadway. That was very, very fun. Had that same anarchic spirit as Peter and the Starcatcher, which was, I think, the first thing I ever properly saw him in.
Wow.
And Timbers directed that, of course. So
all full circle, isn't it?
Everything I like seems to be very full circle, I admit.
I miss Beetlejuice so much.
I do too. I wish I got to see it at least one more time. I was waiting for Abe to go on. Like, I was going to drop everything and go see Abe Juice, but we were robbed of Abe Juice, and I'm very sad about that.
True. My hope is that, knocking on all the wood that I see, but it'll come back. It'll be strong. It'll have a long life as it deserves to have. A long, not dead life.
Yeah.
And because that is such a fun show that really has been driven by the fans post Tony's performance.
Yeah, I wish the Prom managed to do that too, because I missed that show very, very much. That there was a point early 2019. It was right after Broadway Con, and someone anonymously sent me some really awful, toxic, ableist, transphobic hate mail to my apartment that I was living in at the time. I don't know how they got my address, but it was so mean and so hurtful and just so cowardly. And they signed it as a bunch of Broadway people, including Chris Sieber. So I posted on Facebook, and I was really upset. And someone contacted Chris Sieber, and like the people at the Prom were really looking out for me. And I got to see the show with my girlfriend, and we went backstage and we were talking to everybody, and Chris is just, that whole cast, I miss the Prom so much. That cast really looked out for me. That's a thing. So many shows I love, like the casts really start looking out for me because I'm such a repeat attender and because I just care so much about them and I respect them and support them in everything they do.
Yeah.
But I really miss Chris Sieber. I mean, I miss the whole cast, but I really miss Chris, and I really miss Caitlin, and I really miss Kaylin West, and I miss Izzy, I miss Angie, I miss Beth, I miss Brooks. I miss everybody in that show. I miss Josh. I mean, I got to see Josh a bunch this year, which is great. Josh is actually my favorite Barry. I love understudies, but Josh was so good as Barry. God. I'm just, so the movie's coming out, and I was just, I'm really nervous. There's so much casting. I'm just like, I don't like that. But there's enough people in the ensemble that were either in it on Broadway or people I know. And I'm like, I'm going to watch it for them. Right. For them. It just feels so weird that Ryan Murphy can make a Boys in the Bands movie with the entire Broadway revival cast, but can't do a Prom pro shot and instead make a whole new movie with big name actors just because big name actors. it just feels a little, I think really the only I don't know. I'm James Corden is not a high camp gay Jew. I'm sorry. I wish we had Nathan Lane as Barry. That would have been top tier.
That is such a, if you're not going to do the pro shot, right, and give us that experience of seeing it in the theater natural habitat, and you want to make it a film, a movie film, and then you don't take the theater people. And I've had this conversation with so many people, and that I see both sides. I do.
I get having big names, but at the same time, these roles were tailor-made and written for these Broadway stars, and it just feels kind of hollow having Meryl Streep, who is not known for her belt, playing Dee Dee, when Beth Level, whose belt could probably destroy a building, is not playing Dee Dee. And, like, I love Nicole Kidman. I'm sure she'll be a fine Angie, because, I mean, I love her in Moulin Rouge. It's just, that role is literally just Angie Schworer playing herself.
Yep. Right. That's, I think, especially the prom, it hurts because these characters are these humans, are these actors, and like Meryl's fabulous.
I love Meryl. Don't get me wrong. She's a goddess. We love Meryl Streep.
Right. It's just a very interesting choice.
Very interesting. I think the one I'm really most nervous of, because I'm most protective of, is Trent. I love Chris Sieber, like, very notably. I think I'm really happy I have a poster from it, but Chris Sieber and Lucas Steele did a show in like early 2010s where they played a gay couple, and I wish I could have seen it. Anne Harada and Susan Blackwell were also in it, and just, it's called The Kid. I have not been able to find any like footage really from it. I have a poster that's signed by the whole cast, but that's about it. I wish I could have seen that show, because it's just Lucas Steele and Chris Sieber as gay dads. What more could you want in life? But Chris Sieber, who was just so perfect and oblivious and dumb and so fucking funny, as Trent.
Yes.
And Andrew Rannells is not a Chris Sieber type, like, at all. I mean, I have nothing against Andrew Rannells. He's super talented. He's good in things. He's just not Trent.
Yeah, I think that's what's also
dad energy. Trent needs dad energy.
Yes, exactly. Like these actors, for the most part, that are in it are wonderful people in their own
way.
But like his I believe from the Tonys is something I just like, it pops up and I'm like, you're right. I'm gonna watch that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, like sometimes like I'm like, oh yeah, remember when Andrew Rannells was in the Pokemon musical, and I'll just watch the trailer because he was James in the Pokemon musical. I love it. That's probably my favorite Andrew Rannells credit. Like, I'm not lying. Like, he's a pretty goofy James.
But you know, that's those theater people just wanting. Anytime I see anything with a theater person, I get so happy. Like, I was watching The Flash because I love superheroes, and there's like this big crossover, so I have to be up to date on Supergirl and The Flash
superhero shows, but I'm aware.
And I all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's Catherine Gallagher, and it just it's just so fun when you see someone who's like a theater person who also does movies and TV shows.
My parents have been watching The Good Fight, and every time somebody I either know or like have seen in a show is on, my parents like, Hayley, come down. Like, someone you know is on the show. There was one episode I came down. Chris Sieber, Rob McClure, and Mo Rocca were all in an episode together, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? I know all these beautiful human beings. I mean, I've only met Mo once, but like Rob and Chris, I mean, like, thank you for this. I think there was one episode where John Cameron Mitchell was like playing like a really snooty libertarian, and I'm just like, wow, that is the complete polar opposite of John Cameron Mitchell, but love when he plays against type. He's great.
Right. Showing the range.
I think there was one episode like Monique Choksi from Grit, Comet, and Moby Dick was there. I'm just like, oh, hi friend. It was just so many people. I just love that. Whenever like my parents just started watching Masters of Sex, which I've been watching for the past year, and like I just watched an episode where Christian Borle plays Michael Sheen's brother, and I'm just, you don't do that to me specifically. Also, Annalie Ashford's a recurring character, and like I love Annalie Ashford. My favorite Marymount alum. She's a sweetheart. I'm really excited. I saw her on New Year's Eve this past New Year's Eve. I saw her at 54 Below for New Year's Eve. And it was right after, I finished college, and I saw her pretty much in some capacity any major thing that happened at Marymount when I got accepted. The day I auditioned for Marymount, I saw her in Sunday in the Park with George. Right after I was about to move to the city and start school, I saw her in Shakespeare in the Park when she was in Midsummer Night's Dream. I did a masterclass with her at Marymount my first semester, and then I don't know, I graduate and I see her at 54 Below for New Year's, but I didn't get to see her after. And I just really wish I could have told her that I finished Marymount, because she's been there kind of as a, not really guardian angel, just sort of, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Just feels like it's connecting with her, and it's cool. I love her a lot. She's so good.
Oh, yay. What a good soul.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, it appears that we've been chatting for nearly an hour, which is
dang. I mean, I can be here as long as you want, but
the time just flies. I know. I appreciate it so much, and I want to make sure before I forget. Are there any nonprofits or charities you'd like to give a shout out to right now?
I mean, I always love shouting out to Actors Fund and BCEFA. I mean, go donate and do stuff for the Broadway, the flea market, the virtual flea market's going on. Please donate to that. It's gonna be fun. I don't know if I'm gonna specifically do any of the meet and greets or anything, but there's a lot of cool stuff that they're selling for charity, which is good. And Actors Fund is super important. I did a fundraiser for them for my birthday this year, which was really nice. They're just really great charities that care a lot about the people in our industry, and not just actors, just everybody behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everything. Just they're great charities, and I love what they do.
Great. Well said. Yeah, that is such an important thing for people to know as well, that it's not, even though it's called the Actors Fund,
it's for everybody in entertainment, which is
right.
really great. I'm glad so many of the big live streams that have happened over quarantine have been specifically for the Actors Fund. I remember when they did, I think, it was when Michael Urie was doing the buyer and seller stream. I think that was for the Actors Fund.
So talented.
Yeah, he's, as I said, he's been the savior of quarantine theater, because he did so much in such little time, and I was working with him on stuff, and he's a good bean. I think he's in Rhode Island right now filming a big movie with Drew Jogi, which is super fun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait for that.
Yeah. I think they just announced that yesterday. I can't believe that. Very good timing.
Yeah. Are there where can people find you on social media? And is there anything that you came into today wanting to make sure to share and say to the public?
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Hayley St. James. That's HAYLEYSTJAMES. Yes, I named myself after the theater. Do you have anything else I want to say? I mean, please stream the Emoji Land cast albums, stream any Dave Malloy cast albums. Just please support your actors, buy the cast albums, give them some money. These are actors, these are starving artists. We're all starving artists at this point. Please. Also, Nick Cordero's 54 Below show just dropped on CD. I listened to it last night and I cried. It's fantastic. He covers a Coldplay song, so just it's so good. I really wish I don't even know if I sought to see him in Waitress. He just seemed like the loveliest human being. But yeah, please listen to Nick Cordero's album. What else? I mean, donate to Actors Fund, donate to BCEFA. Please, I'm on New Play Exchange. If anybody's out there who is looking to produce theater or do a Zoom reading or something, please contact me. I would love to have more of my work seen. I don't know, just be excellent to each other. Just Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter. Please vote for Biden. Vote. If you can early register, work the polls if you can. I still need to register to do that. There's just so many important things we need to do before this year is over, because this year feels like it's never going to end. And please be good to yourselves. Quarantine has been really tough for everybody. I've tried my damn best. I'm sure you all have too. I just want everybody to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the mental health of it all is really important right now. And I've spoken about this before, but having Slim in my life just has really helped. Having a dog who both like loves you and cuddles with you, but also gives you that reason to, make sure his food and water are full, and making sure he goes out to the field and giving him that purpose. And that's for me been like a good way to know that, like, if I do this, I'm gonna feel a little like serotonin boost, because I know that I'm helping another being feel good and being taken care of, and find out whatever that is for you. And
watch your favorite things. Find things that make you feel good. Like quarantine, you should try to please take care of yourselves and find things that make you happy. Find things that give you comfort. I know people like to do a lot of baking. I know binge watch your favorite shows. Binge watch your favorite things that have been filmed. Watch your favorite pro shots. Watch Hamilton 100 times if you want to. I won't judge.
Yes.
I mean, just be good to yourselves and find the things that make you happy and bring you joy during dark times, because theater saved my life. Something Rotten literally saved my life. Like, so many shows I've seen have really gotten me through rough patches. Like, I'm grateful that, like, the last 2 pieces of theater I saw before the shutdown were the first preview of Mrs. Doubtfire, which was really great. Something Rotten guys wrote it, and Rob McClure doing a beautiful job. He was going to win a Tony this year. He was doing such a beautiful job with that role. That the show is so funny. It was basically the anti Tootsie in every way, which is nice. Because Doubtfire is really good. It was better than I expected it to be. I love that writing team, and they really delivered. They was really wholesome and charming, and really about love and family, which is really nice. But that, and then the last show I saw before the shutdown was obviously Emoji Land. So it was, really sad that the last show you see is a show where there's a lot of, there's literally, it's a show that is so much deeper than anybody gives it credit for, because it's about not taking people at face value. And then we have characters who are pretty much just hell-bent on xenophobia, and then Lucas Steele literally starts a pandemic, and there's a virus. And it's just, the last thing Lucas Steele said to me before we all both went into lockdown was, Emoji Land was a documentary. And I take that with me every day. Thanks, Lucas Steele.
Thanks, Lucas Steele. Yes to all of that. and Rachel, when Rachel wrote hello, I heard it.
Hello. Rob was so good in that. Like, he got, like, honestly, like, I loved the movie growing up, but, like, watching it later as, like, an adult who is trans, it's like, yeah, I don't know if all of this has aged super well, but the musical fixed a lot of the problems I had with the movie. The dad isn't, like, a super obnoxious man-child. Like, even though, like, Robin Williams had a lot of warmth, and, he does a wonderful job, but, like, Rob really brought a lot of love and warmth and care, and you can really tell he cared about his family. And they also made the mom, like, really likable, because in the movie, like, I love Sally Field, but her character is a bit of a shrew, and Jen Gambaptiste did such a beautiful job with her material, and you really, like, feel for the mom, too, which is nice. Like, it's just a really lovely adaptation. And I'm really sad, because between that, the last 2 shows I was supposed to have tickets to see were, I was supposed to go to first preview of Caroline or Change, starring my best bud John Cariani, and Casey Levy, and, like, Sharon D. Clark, and, like, I was so excited for that show, because I'd never seen Caroline or Change before. I really still don't know anything about it other than it's Tony Kushner and Jeannie Tesori, who I love. But knowing that'll come back, I'm looking forward to that. And the last show I had tickets for was Company. And I'm so gutted, because I love that show. I love Sondheim. I love Katrina Lenk. It's got Chris Sieber. It's got Itai Benson. It's got Patty fucking Lapone. Just so many people I love. Jen Samar and Chris Sieber are playing one of the couples. Like, come on, that sounds like the funniest thing in the entire world. And the fact that we've been robbed of that because of the virus breaks my damn heart. I was so looking forward to that. So hopefully, when things come back, we'll get them. There's so many. I just really hope things get back to normal. Obviously I want a vaccine, but at the same time, like, take the time developing it, because I don't want to rush it too quickly, because it could go horribly wrong.
Right.
It's just, science is really important. I have a friend who has been, like, really tracking what's going on and following the vaccine stuff. And I just, I really, really hope we can get out of this because the rest of the world is just they just announced Six is coming back in London.
Yep.
And didn't even get to open here, and I'm just so sad about that.
Yep. Yep. Yes to all of that. We need to take this seriously. Wear a mask.
Wear your damn mask. I have a mask. My dear friend Amber Kempter, who runs Broadway Goes Pop, please buy stuff from Broadway Goes Pop. They're the best. She has masks with characters. I have an Emoji Land one that has Skull and Nerd Face on it that says "Stop the Virus," and it's great. So there's her Beetlejuice ones. So if you like Beetlejuice, definitely get her Beetlejuice stuff. She has a lot of Six stuff. She has a lot of Mean Girl stuff. She has a lot of really popular shows on her merch. She makes really great enamel pins. I actually kind of helped design a lot of the Emoji Land ones because I had seen the show enough times from the front row that I had a photographic memory of the costume design. So those are fun. But yeah, her stuff's great. Please support my friend Amber. She's a good bean and deserves your coin.
Awesome.
Yeah, please wear a mask. Please safe social distance with people. Do not go to parties. Do wash your damn hands.
Always. And that's also like a cool pre-post current pandemic thing. Just like, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. I mean, hygiene is next to, cleanliness is next to godliness, I guess. I don't know. Cleanliness is next to Sondheimness.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go take Slimbo out to the field because I can feel he is rearing. He's like, let's go to the backyard, let's run around, and that's gonna bring me joy. And this has brought me joy.
I'm so glad this brought you joy. What am I doing next? Oh man, tomorrow a Coldplay are on the iHeart Festival. We have no idea what they're doing. They might be dropping new stuff. We have no idea. The fandom is losing our goddamn minds on Twitter. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. I'm on Coldplay lockdown. It's gonna be, oh boy. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I don't know. Maybe do some laundry. Just, the little things. Little things.
Hey, a little laundry never hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you so much. And this was so much fun. And I can't wait to see you again.
Oh, same. Whenever theater's back or when New York is back. If I'm back there, you're back there, we should absolutely hang out. I'd love nothing more.
That would be fabulous. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the socials.
You too, friend.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.